Hello, Internet. Hello, Sam, and welcome back to another episode of After Campfire. It is July 2024, and it's been a very weird week. In the bigger scope of things, like outside of my personal life, a lot of strange happenings have happened. What I should or should not talk about on this channel is always very interesting when like a big event happens because sometimes I feel like it's inappropriate to mention, but sometimes I feel like it must be talked about. Uh, as Henry's Diary of How to Adult goes, like trying to think of like what's been going on in this past like month and a half or so since I made an episode, since Sam took a while to make his. Uh, Nothing like I feel like nothing super interesting has changed. This past month has been, for me personally, has been quite a bit of a lull before the storm of the rest of the year. I'm gonna be doing an insane amount of travel and stuff for the rest of the year because coming up in 3 weeks I have Gen Con. Then I'm gonna be going out east for Sam. I think, yeah, your bachelor party, then John's bachelor party, then John's wedding, then your wedding, and in the mix of that, we're gonna include Thanksgiving travel down to LA, and then presumably I'll be traveling out towards you and the East Coast again for the holidays. So I'm gonna be traveling like at least every 3 weeks on average, if not more, for the rest of the year, which is gonna be a bit crazy. So now I'm just kind of relaxing, but it kind of works well with my question to Sam, and maybe Sam's question to me, because both of them have to do with time. So my question to Sam was about like your perception of time, and I know in my video I commented on like compared to like children, how like children kind of experience time like more, they experience more within the same amount of time because everything's new to them. uh but Sam had some fun questions and answers to that, and how it's like a bit of a struggle for him to kind of understand his own view of time in the world, and how reaching out to the future is difficult for him. Like his wedding is soon. It doesn't feel like that to him because it's like 3 months out. But like he said in his, everyone else is like, Sam, your wedding is very soon. We need to start planning and getting ready for la di da. And it's funny because I needed some information from him before I planned my trip for his wedding because it's soon. So I'll probably be planning that the next few days. Um, yeah, anyways, before I get too deep into that question, that was talking about more current event stuff. The big one that I feel like it might be too soon to mention this, but apparently there was a shooting at the Trump rally that happened today, and Trump only got like his ear hit or something, so he's fine. But it's crazy that there was, I guess, an attempted assassination against Trump. We don't really know the details yet, but that's why I'm like, maybe it's a little too soon to mention this, especially because he's fine. But it's insane. Also, as far as politics goes, Biden is becoming like more senile, so there's like more calls for getting him to be replaced by a different Democratic candidate. So I'm not looking forward to this election. This is gonna be even more insane than I expected, I guess. This last week has been absolutely crazy in that regard. The other timely thing that I don't know if I should mention is the camp thing. Um, there was a decent disaster at camp. I'm gonna leave it there. Everyone's fine. Sam, let me know if we should talk about that or not and what it means long term. uh, Genuinely no, though, because it is a pretty serious topic. Everyone was fine, but it's like, I don't know if it's appropriate to talk about it here, even though it's after campfire. Oh, so cool. Maybe we'll wait till after the summer to give it a few more weeks to see what happens. And I'm glad everyone was fine, especially because it directly affected like a bunch of the campers that were really involved in circus back when I was back in 2020. So like a bunch of kids I actually know personally. So that's weird. So, um, Sam knows what I'm talking about. I don't know why I'm being so nebulous about this. Anyways, so my perception of time though is very funny because how it's viewed goes going backwards and forwards is very different. And I've had a lot of friends also comment, especially I think like Alicia has been annoyed with how my brain works like in this regard, because I use like check marks and like key points in time or road marks to remember certain events in my life, whether it is school years or camp years or like when I moved or whatever. The way that I perceive my past is that there is a series of check marks or like checkpoints, road markers, whatever. And I try to match the closest one of those to the check marks. So, like, a lot of them are in reference to camp years. So because of how old we were at camp, uh, because like we were CITs, we were campers, we were senior staff, like it was 2020, it was the pandemic year. Like I can get down to how old exactly I was for certain events to have happened. Like, for example, Sam. We became closer in wait, give me a second. 2009. 2009 was our first year as CITs together. And I just remember that because I was a camper for 8 years. 2009 was my first year as a CIT. 2010 was my second year as a CIT. 2011 was my first year as a counselor when I was 18. So I'm like, okay, I get map those years. Or like, I graduated high school in 2011. I graduated college in 2015. Was this thing before or after that? I feel like really good at locking down when things happen in my life in the past. The problem is, like you were talking about in the future, about how you perceive the future, Sam, is how you were saying, like, I don't feel like my wedding is soon, but I know it's like 100 days away, whatever. For me, I'm good at remembering, like, all right, this next thing that is important is in 4 months or like 4 weeks or whatever. I'm good at locking onto that next thing because I'm always waiting for my next road mark to come. The problem is when I have something immediately after that. So like this summer, for example, I usually go visit the East Coast. This year was kind of weird because like during the summer because I know I'm about to go to the East Coast an extra 4 times more than usual. But I do really like to visit camp and stuff and see those people that I would not normally see like in a vacuum. Like when I go visit the East Coast and see my camp friends, I'm seeing a very small list of people. And it's nice to see all of those other people that I still care about, but either they don't live anywhere that I would travel often, or it's just they're not people that I stay with, or la di da, I don't see them as often. But the problem was, like, I had a trip before the summer, and then by the time it would have been time to start planning this trip, it was too late. I should have long since figured that out. So I'm trying to remember what it was, but last year I set up a trip too late, and I think it was I don't remember which one it was, but that was kind of the point. Like, because I had a thing like, let's just say Gen Con, and then I had a thing I was supposed to have do immediately after. I don't think about that next thing until then the previous one is done. So when they're back to back, I run into trouble. Anyways, so I think I have a pretty good perception of how much time is passing and stuff. Just only let me focus on one thing in the future, or else I will have problems. Um, I will be thinking about how many weeks, how many days, whatever. Math brain. The funny thing is, though, Sam talked also about more what my question was really about, is like how you perceive your age and stuff, and how like children perceive you. Kind of. I don't deal with kids much these days, which is funny, kind of funny. I'm dating someone who works at a preschool, and preschoolers or little children, their perception of age is hilarious. I've never been to the school with the kids there. That would be weird. There's no reason for me to do it. But like besides like I don't know, going for like a holiday event. Um but Amanda tells me stories about it and it's funny and like how old they think she is and stuff like that. But like I don't know. Sam, you talked about your baby face. I feel like similar here. I'm surrounded by people who are about my age. Most of my friends are about within 5 years younger than me to 5 years older than me, with a few outliers. And everyone just is the same vibe and it doesn't really matter. Anyways, Sam's question was another thing about time. And it's about like how much is enough time to spend with friends, and how he talked about like when he does stuff with friends, he feels like sometimes it's not like really spending time with them. And as someone who often travels to the East Coast in order to see my friends, in order to maintain these relationships, I definitely like understand and think about that kind of thing a lot. It is very hard to maintain proper friendships without spending a good amount of time with them. The problem is, like Sam was just saying, you can spend time with someone and not really spend time with them. For instance, Deadpool, the new Deadpool movie is coming out soon. I have a few friends I'm gonna like ask to go see it with me. I don't count that as like really spending time with them. Unless we like do stuff before and after, and maybe we will. We're gonna sit in a theater alone. I mean, not alone. In a theater where we're barely talking, um, and then say bye. Like we spent time together, but we didn't really hang out. So for me, it's like how much of your hanging out was focused on exterior things. Like if you went axe throwing with friends, and like last time, Sam, we went like we were like playing games and stuff. But so it was great. We were talking a lot, having a good time together, focused more on hanging out with each other than anything else. But if I went to axe throwing as part of a tournament, even though I have a team, we're so focused on the goal of like winning and participating in the tournament itself, that you're not really hanging out with the people that are on your team. That's kind of how I see it. So like I feel like the time only really counts as having spent with them if the main reason why you're there is to spend time with them and nothing else. They're not accompanying you to a thing you would have maybe done on your own. You're doing it specifically with them. And as far as maintaining relationships, like how much is enough to like for friendship and stuff, it's very dependent on context and what kind of friend they are. So like for example, because of camp, like a lot of my friends I don't see as often, but when I see, I usually see like I'll spend 2 days with them and it's like super deep. All right, let's catch up and be maximum friends for like a 30-hour period. Doing that once a year or so, it's enough. Some of my camp friends I don't talk to that often, or I did, but like we go in waves of not talking. Like this is something with like me and Holly, for example, where she is one of my closest camp friends, but we will sometimes just go in waves of just not talking a lot for a while and then all the time for a while. Um, and that works because when they're your friend forever, you can just do that, catch up, and then be normal friends. So if you want a friend to be actively part of your life, I try to aim to be at least once a month. I try to do very regular things with people so that I keep up the relationships. Like the way I built friends in Seattle is that I had a weekly game night. I saw the same people every week. It was great. Um, it's we never reestablished that since the pandemic, but we kind of sometimes do. Like before Justin went to camp this summer, and that was one of the things I was going to mention. Maintaining like Justin being gone is bugging my normal friendship things. Is every Monday me and Justin would have a game design night, but that kind of temporarily became another board game night where we were just playing one game, the Slay the Spire board game, which is very fun. And that was a great way to keep up with people. And like tonight, I have my Magic game night. So my friends that I play Magic with, I usually see about once a week, but sometimes people won't show up for months and then they'll come back and it's like, oh, great, Yale, I haven't seen you in forever. How are you? How's the dogs and stuff? So yeah, on average, once a month could be fine, I think. If they're people that are local, if they're people that are far, once every many, many months, it's fine. Supplemented with phone calls is usually good too. But as long as you're actually having like direct communication with the person and catching up about each other's lives and being friends, not just talking about what's going on, I think it's enough. Yeah. So, weird week. Looking forward to seeing how all of the things that I was just mentioning turn out. As for time and thinking about further questions, One thing in Henry's Diary of How to Adult is I have been playing a lot of the One Piece card game lately. Amanda has as well. And there is a major tournament that's happening at the store that we go to every week. However, it was like a lottery who got to do it. There was only 64 people allowed, 500 people or so applied. I didn't get in, but Amanda's like third on the waiting list, so she has a good chance. And I thought to participate, I would become a judge. So I took the judge test for the game and failed. I was one question short of passing. And the one question was like specifically like a trap for new judges to be like, hey, you should not be looking at this question this way. And I did. So I guess there's two ways we can go about this. What's a backdoor way of getting into an event that you've done? Sam, you've done like weird things of like going behind the scenes at like the Mall of America for your TV show. Or just like, tell me about a time you came so close to succeeding something and failed, but it was minor. Whichever you want. So close to success but failed, but it's not a big deal. Or tell me about a roundabout way you tried to accomplish something to like get into a tournament just to hang out and see what's going on. The choice is yours. Bye. You can answer both, I guess, if you want.